We want to welcome you tonight to our varsity boys match between the Yorktown Patriots and the Washington Lee Generals. This is Wendy LeBolt with Arlington Independent Media, and I'm here with
Jonathan Shears. Excited to be here, Wendy. Should be a real fun rivalry game.
Well, I'm looking forward to this. I don't know a lot about, certainly about boys lacrosse, so I'm going to be looking to you for every single answer about why it is that their boys are doing this. All right, so the Generals are defending the goal nearest to where we're standing, and the Patriots are passing it around on the outside. Is that a strategy that usually they look to try?
It is, yes. They've
And he get a shot off.
Yeah, that was Luke Helfgott taking it from behind. Usually they'll try to work the ball around the outside a little bit to get just into the flow of things and to get their substitutions in. So now that their entire offensive personnel is subbed in, they'll look to attack.
How do you sub? Do you sub on the fly in this game?
You sub through the substitution box. It's similar to hockey. It's a little more strict in how those guys are able to come on.
Oh, there's a fine shot, number 18. Who is that?
That is Tyler Stowell for Yorktown.
All right, so I'm looking at the scoreboard there, and I don't see a goal. There, you're right. All right, so 1-0 then. The Patriots go up. And 3 men, do I say men or boys, go off. So do we have a shift in lines? Is that the way it works?
Yes, so right now they've brought on their face-off specialist down there at the center of the field. He's most teams will have one guy who specializes in face-offs, and they'll want to bring in a long stick defender right here, as you see, guarding the ball in case of something like this, so they can hop back on defense and get some pressure right away.
It looks like he's whacking the guy, not guarding the ball, but okay, I'll take your word for it. Oh, of a nice save.
Yeah, like you said, not great defensive technique right there. You want to funnel the guys down the outside and away from the shooting angle, and that time he was all stick, and the offensive player was able to dodge right through him. Okay.
That's the idea, is use their body to force them to the outside?
Exactly. Just like in hockey, you see defenders getting real low and bodying up to try to keep guys down the outside because there's no shooting angle there.
Sure. We call the sidelines the extra defender.
Exactly.
And it looks like Yorktown has really spread out the game here, all the way almost to the center line.
That's right. So they'll look to get this guy dodging with a full head of steam. It's a great jam by 11 for Blue.
Number 11, Nick Pasternak.
So fight for the ground ball. That's coming up, Generals.
It looks like it's difficult to pick up from the ground.
Yeah, well, when you can't keep your footing, that doesn't help. These guys seem to be slipping and sliding early here.
So we had rain today. That makes this turf field maybe tough to keep your footing.
You said it.
All right, so these attacking players have kind of short sticks.
Right.
Allows them to make moves. Ooh. How often does that happen that it goes off the goalpost? Do you call it a goalpost?
Yeah, more likely than you'd think. It's kind of a heartbreaking play because you're
so close.
So close, but so far. So right here we see a backed up shot. One thing that's unique in lacrosse is when the offensive team shoots and it goes out of bounds, whoever is closest to the ball when it goes out of bounds, their team takes possession.
Oh, thank you. I was trying to figure out how that worked. Oh, my goodness.
Right. So it may look like they're just throwing the ball out of bounds and being able to keep it. Not usually something you see in most sports, but,
Oh, my. That was almost too easy. Goal by number 9, Robert Ridgway.
That's going to be Tucker Weiss for the Patriots, off an assist from Helfgott. That's what we like to call a quick stick, where he caught it and without a cradle in one smooth motion took a shot.
I bet he made it look easy. I bet that's not so easy to do.
Right. It takes a lot of years of practice, a lot of hitting the wall, a lot of hand-eye coordination, but yeah, it looks real slick when you get it right.
So how many years have these players been playing probably?
I can't speak for all of them. I know I started in 6th grade and I was pretty late to the party. So, most of them would probably be, going on 9 or even 10 years. Our Arlington offers youth lacrosse, and a lot of these kids actually have probably played together on teams growing up, seeing as the high schools are only separated by a couple of miles. So yeah, a lot of these kids have probably been playing together since the U9, under 9 years old age division.
So by a lot of these kids, you're saying the boys on both sides.
Both sides,
have
yeah.
probably played against and with each other.
Exactly.
All right, so.
Makes for some fun, spirited competition in these crosstown games.
Always, yeah. Now these guys maybe have some signature moves, though, right? You know, traditionally what a player is likely to do.
Right. So they're, for example, we see 25 in blue is going to try to dodge down the alley, which is where the defense wants to force him. And if he's not able to gain a step there on his guy, he'll look to roll back and hit that guy pop into the top, usually for a better shooting angle. That time Yorktown sniffed it out and had a guy ready for the slide. See some hard defense there from Graham Prather Long, number 31 in white. He is employing the lift check, which is where you just get your stick under the bottom hand of the offensive player and try to make that ball tip out the back end.
So this looks like a lot of whacking, but there's actually technique.
There is. That's
oh, what was that?
Take your pick. That could have been a cross check or a push from behind. I think they'll go with the push. Yeah, they're calling the cross check. Okay, so another thing that they also have in hockey there, you can't have your hands far apart on your stick and jam the guy with your stick like some sort of bar. That's illegal. So that's what they got him for there. And so that'll be a 1-minute penalty on Yorktown.
So the player has to go off into the box on the side there.
Right, and so this will be a man down or man up opportunity for Washington Lee. They'll look to move the ball quick and get an open shot here. Oh, scratch that. There were two penalties. We had a push and a cross check. So Yorktown has 2 men down right now. A great save by Briggs Coyle.
So the 2 flags resulted in 2 penalties and 2 men down.
Right, two penalties on 2 different guys there. I think one got him from behind, one got him from the front. So this is a tough situation for Yorktown here.
Absolutely.
They'll look to pack it in and allow the outside shots.
So the Generals are hoping to make it work.
So that's an over and back on Washington Lee. Similar to backcourt violations in basketball, it's an immediate turnover, and Yorktown will look to set up and kill this penalty.
So that almost looked like continuous motion. Did they have to stop the play, or did that just continue and I didn't see it?
They do have to stop. It's kind of up to the refs. The way restarts work in lacrosse is as soon as the offensive team is able to scoop up the ball and and regroup, the refs are able to blow the whistle and get the restart. So it's something unique to lacrosse in the men's and women's game is the quick restart. You really got to be on your toes at all times.
Well, that's my first observation is these guys must be in great shape to keep running like this.
Yeah, known as the fastest game on 2 feet, this one. So so you got to have your legs under you.
And there are not any timeouts.
Both teams are awarded 2 timeouts a half.
Okay.
We'll see if they use them. You do have to have possession to call a timeout, similar to basketball.
Okay.
So you can't stop the other team's fast break or anything like that.
That makes sense. And it looks like we have 3 referees or 2 referees.
Yeah, 3 work varsity games. The crew is only going to be 2 for JV. So when one guy's got fresh legs and the other guys have just finished up with an entire junior varsity game here.
Okay. Wow. Wow. Again, that looked pretty easy. What happened there?
So right there, that was Nate Googles on the goal. Number 18 in white, Tyler Stoll, was able to be his man up top and get a step. Similar to basketball, lacrosse is very centered around help defense, or what's known as sliding. So when one guy slides to stop the ball, another guy has to pinch in and cover his man. Those are known as the 1 and 2 slides. So right there, W had the 1 slide come to Tyler. He saw him coming. They didn't have the 2 slide to button up that guy in the crease.
Are there some players that are stars on these teams that are going to be their shooters, and do you double team? How do you play against those tough players? Right,
there's certain things you can do. Right there is one strategy that you'll often see with a strong dodging midfielder like Stoll, is the defensive team will try to slide early, which works as long as you have the backside buttoned up, which they didn't have the full rotation there. So, in an attempt to slow down that dodge, they left a guy open on the crease for an easy finish.
All right, so back to the beginning here. How many players on each side?
10, including the goaltender.
Okay,
So
and
3 attackmen, 3 midfielders, 3 defensemen.
Okay, so 3, 3, and 3. And is that always the way they play?
It is. It's actually pretty much mandated by the offsides rules. At all times, you need to have three players in your offensive end and 4 players in your defensive end.
Okay.
Now, these players are interchangeable. A long stick defenseman can carry the ball over midfield, but one of the midfielders would have to stay back as a substitute for him.
So you have to keep your numbers.
Exactly.
You can switch
exactly.
players. Okay.
Exactly.
Man, I'm learning a lot tonight. All right. So it looks like you can kick the ball as well as move it with your
stick. You sure can.
Uh-huh.
In that case, it was effective for him.
Uh-huh.
So Washington Lee had an odd man situation there with the 4-on-3 and weren't able to capitalize.
And here they come on the attack.
Yeah, it's Han Miller, the freshman, looking for Helfgott.
Oh, very nice.
Great save there by the Washington Lee goaltender, and a great job controlling that rebound.
So it looks like Cooper Caputo.
Not a bad outlet either. That's going to be a push from behind on Pasternak.
And the referee agrees with you. And it looked like a shuttlecock in the air the way they threw that.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. Some of these guys really have an arm. They like to show it off.
So how do you feel about the referees as a player? Do you know some of these referees? Do you know how they call the game? Do you agree with them?
It's case by case. I'll say respectfully.
You played your high school.
I did. I played here in Arlington. So some of these faces are familiar. There's also some guys I just know from the lacrosse world is pretty small, so the network's pretty tight. As we see a shot from the outside, swallowed up by Briggs Coyle. There's one guy who's done a few games who I'm actually playing in a men's league with. But that doesn't mean I take it easy on him if I think he's missed a call and I'm on the sidelines.
But you're respectful, of course.
Of course.
Wow. That was a slick behind the back. Is that what that's called?
Exactly, yeah. The BTB finish by Luke Helfgott there.
BTB.
Little razzle-dazzle.
Razzle-dazzle. I was almost showing up the other team there.
It is. That's we've seen this kind of shift in the game to where that used to, when I was coming up as a kid, that was thought of as hot dogging or yeah, exactly. But there've been players who've had great success using whether it's behind the back shots like that or backhanded shots, all kinds of fancy releases on their shots.
Sure, yeah.
Mostly Lyle Thompson of the Iroquois Nation, who played for Albany a few years back, and is thought of as one of the best, if not the best, college lacrosse players ever. And because of his success, we've seen this shift where young guys are all in their backyards trying it too. So you see a lot more behind the back shots. You probably see at least 2 or 3 attempts per game, and every now and then you'll see one go in, and often you'll see that on SportsCenter the next day. Probably not with these guys, but
never know.
You never know.
Got to try it now. Whoops, he lost his defender, taking his opportunity.
That's right. That's sure to ignite the bench every single time you get a guy falling down. That was Kane shooting wide for the Patriots.
Okay, and it still goes back to the white team because they were closest to the ball.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
The shot's backed up by Helfgott back there, number 4. So there you see a little one-handed flick pass, another example of some razzle-dazzle movements you can make in this game.
So they're keeping it balanced. There's a lot of room in behind. Ooh, nice defense there.
Yeah, that's a tough pass there in the crease. To connect on that one, you'd really have to put it right on his stick or right in the box, as it's called, the area between your shoulder and your head that forms kind of a right angle. Anything around his hip there is going to be really difficult to catch.
Mm-hmm. And that was
Nate Googles with the high heat.
It almost seems unfair. From here, it looks like the goaltender for the Generals is small compared to the rest of the players. Is that
right?
that right?
Washington has a shorter goaltender.
Is that a disadvantage?
It can be. I've played the goaltenders in lacrosse come in all sizes. It's really interesting. You have guys in the pro ranks like Scotty Rogers, who's 6'4" and built like an interior lineman in football. And then you also have guys his height who are successful. So there's no blueprint really to it, or no ideal goalie as far as build. But as a shorter guy, you have to be really explosive and be able to pop up out of a squat kind of stance to get up to those high shots. And that time, just a little too fast for him.
Yep. So we've got Yorktown up 5-0. But the Generals have the ball.
That's right. Arlington bragging rights on the line.
And he's looking for an alley?
That's right. So the alley is the area we call it between the basically where the football numbers are and the sideline. It's another great save by Coyle.
Sure.
Oof, and a toe drag move.
Oh, my goodness.
We'll touch on that in a second.
Okay.
Briggs, who already has one goal this season. Very rare occurrence for goalies.
So he just had the idea to come on down with it, huh?
That's right. And like I was saying with the offsides, you always have to have four guys back on defense. That includes the goalie. So when the goalie steps over, you have to have a midi back to avoid the offsides call. That time Yorktown made sure to cover their bases.
Somebody stayed back so that he could come forward.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, is there a difference in the way the goaltender can play in the field if he has the ball?
Well, his stick's a big target for checks. Anything you land on that big head of the butterfly net he's got is probably going to dislodge the ball. Rules-wise, not at all.
Oh, wow.
There's another quick stick goal. That is Tucker Weiss again. Just like last time, slightly different angle, though.
That's got to be very difficult to catch and throw almost in the same motion.
Yeah, it's a tricky move to get the hang of. A lot of guys you'll see standing about maybe 5 feet away from the brick wall in their backyard or whatever it is, just getting quick releases on that and working on that.
So I guess this shorter stick maybe is easier to do that with.
Exactly. It's lighter. It's easier to work. It's easier to protect. Really, is probably the main reason the offensive players would use it, because defensemen have twice as much stick to defend when carrying the ball.
Okay. And that gives him a lot of leverage to throw the ball a long way, right? The defenders with the long stick.
Right.
Yep, here he comes.
Oof.
Good. Almost a kick save there by the goaltender.
Yeah, off the pipe. That's Tim Kent, the face-off specialist. He's typically, as you see him running off the field, number 19 in white. He's typically the position known as FOGO, which is an acronym for face-off, get-off. Typically are the guys who are so focused on. We'll pause to see what this call is here.
I didn't see any flags in the air.
No.
Okay.
After long deliberation, looks like there will be no change in anything there. So.
Okay, but they've discussed it and they're going to continue, which is the most important thing.
Yeah, communication is key between these guys.
So they don't have the headphones to communicate with each other like they do on TV, huh?
No, the budgets aren't quite as robust for these guys. There's a force feed on the crease and a great save.
Yeah, very nice save. General's goalkeeper. That's Cooper Caputo.
Yeah, Caputo, interestingly, going with the goalie shaft on his stick, the 40-inch shaft, as opposed to the 30 that most short sticks use. Goalies are allowed to use either one, but most opt for the shorter stick. Oof, just absolutely burned in transition there. Another great save. Coyle going down low.
Now, is Coyle well known as a strong goalkeeper?
Yes, he's his second year as a starter here, but he's a great player for the Patriots.
Right over his head, number 6.
Yeah, some tic-tac-toe motion there.
Tic-tac-toe.
That's right.
You're going to explain that, right?
Number 6, JT Dalton.
It's pretty self-explanatory. It's more the just the quick passes they're able to string together on that on that transition.
All right.
Yeah. Lacrosse is a sport of lingo, of very unique lingo.
It is because you're here. Thank you very much. All right, so the Yorktown team finds themselves up 7-0. It's tough. We've got, 39
seconds left in the first quarter
left
here.
in the first quarter. Okay.
Yeah, definitely a strong start by the Patriots.
Absolutely. Tough to keep playing hard, but I know these are high-scoring games sometimes.
Right, and the tide can turn at the drop of a hat. So these guys will have to stay buttoned up on defense if they want to hold on to the league. The Generals have gotten some great looks. Briggs Coyle's been a brick wall in net for the Patriots, but you can't rely on that all night.
There it is.
Right on cue.
You called it. You called it.
That's 25 Sam Henning for the Generals with the high heat, beating Coyle up high.
The high heat. And see, I know that as coming from Max Scherzer on the Washington Nationals.
Exactly,
when he's got a high
exactly.
fastball that strikes him out, that's the high heat to me.
Exactly. Yeah,
But
it'll mow you down on the diamond. It'll bite you on the lacrosse field too.
Yeah, I have no idea how goalkeepers can defend up high and down low at the same time, and bouncing balls.
I'm sure they'd make good catchers if baseball and lacrosse seasons didn't overlap.
And that's the end of our quarter, right?
Yep, the air horn. I was signaling the end of a quarter in
All right,
lacrosse.
so the home team is up 7-1, so not blanked in that first quarter. So how long are quarters?
12 minutes.
12 minutes. So it's a game these young men hope to continue maybe in college.
Right, and a lot of these guys, will do what a lot of players. We'll make a choice. A lot of players who play club lacrosse do is, they pick the school first instead of maybe the looks at small time D3 schools or D2 schools that they might have. If there's a bigger school they'd much rather go to, then club lacrosse is an option at places like Colorado, where I know Yorktown's sending at least one player. Virginia, while they have a varsity team, I know Coyle's headed there for Yorktown, and he'll probably
UVA.
Right, but
Okay.
he not as a player, just as a student,
Just a student.
as opposed to a student athlete. And
Yeah,
he'll,
got it.
I imagine he'll probably give club ball a shot down there.
Yeah.
It's a nice alternative for guys who maybe don't want the commitment that can be, is similar to a full-time job while also taking classes.
Yes. Yeah. It's a tall order to do both at any post high school opportunity. Okay. So now Yorktown is defending down here where we are,
Yeah, the Generals are back in action. They're man up right now.
and
I see Tim Kent in the box. I'm going to guess this was probably an illegal stick.
I did see a flag, but I obviously I don't know what that was for. But okay, now we're 7-2.
We'll see if the penalty releases here. Illegal sticks will really kill a team because it's a 3-minute non-releasable penalty. If you're a hockey fan, after a goal they get to leave the penalty box. And most penalties in lacrosse are releasable, which means after a goal you're free to go.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like that was the case with this one. So Tim must have got caught with a slash or a push or a common foul like that. But refs will check sticks for certain specifications, such as depth of pocket, width of the head, length of the stick, things like that. And if you're in violation of any of those, you will get your team 3 minutes in the box.
I would think your stick is your stick, and so you would know whether you're in violation or not, right?
Exactly, which is why it's so infuriating to coaches when those penalties do happen.
Yeah. I hear a lot of conversation out there.
That's right. As you hear Coyle calling out Jack 1, that means that his guy Jack out there is going to be the one slide, and it's going to go fire to the man who gets beat if it happens.
So the goaltender maybe is a little bit of the quarterback on the field when he's defending. Or when
That's right.
he's defending?
Great goaltenders really are running the show out there. Although it's just as much on the defensemen and midfielders out there to keep the talk up and to make sure everyone's on the same page and knows where the slide's coming from.
tell me again where the slide is coming from. What does that mean?
So the slide, the help defense really is the slide. As we're about to see another over and back here, this time on the Patriots. So as soon as the Generals pick this one up, they should get a whistle for a restart.
Okay, and you do.
So a lot of time you want to slide from the crease because that will be the closest guy. So right now, 25 in white, Andrew Brown is hot, or the one slide is the terminology they'll be using. Now it's shifted over to John Aldinger, number 5. So if the guy guarding the ball up top here gets beat, he'll be responsible for sliding to the man as the help defense, and the rest of the defense will have to pinch in behind him to make sure no one's left open.
So everybody needs to know that that's what we're doing.
Right. It's it's easier to get beat with with the ball securely in a stick than say in basketball where you're dribbling and you're also in tighter confines of a basketball court.
Of course, yeah.
Here you have this big old field to run around on, so it's pretty easy to get beat. On the lacrosse field, it's not something that's really held against most players.
Okay.
Although you do expect them to be able to slow them down a good amount. So right there, no slide for the Generals, and that's why he was able to get that open look on the goal. Just a great save by Caputo.
Okay, yeah. And that number 15 seems to me he has a lot of moves with this.
Right. That's Dustin Goodwin on attack there. Actually running out of the midfield for Yorktown this time. Yeah, he was able to beat his defender down the alley and then duck inside of the adjacent help. Usually WNL is going to look for that slide from the crease instead of from the adjacent guy. Better to slide straight to his face than from an angle. Yorktown definitely got away with a loose ball push there. No
call. Oh. And they capitalized on that.
Yeah, that's a freshman phenom, Han Miller, right there. Dipping and ducking underneath and finishing on the goalie stick side.
So freshman phenom. So how rare is that a freshman makes the varsity team?
It depends on the school, and the talent pool. I would imagine both these teams have some freshmen.
I see 3 freshmen on the Patriots, at least on the roster.
Right, and only one of the Generals. Three is usually a high number. 1 is pretty much on par. But it depends on who you got coming in.
Sure. Yorkshire's got a big roster here too. Everybody suits up for the game?
That's right. Unless you're hurt. They got a couple guys out right now. SSW now. Sometimes it's hard to tell who's a coach and who's a player, who's just sitting a game out when you're on the other side of the field like this.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah, it looks kind of sparse for the Generals. Well, this looks like a game that injuries could be easily part of it.
Ooh, and there's a nifty backhanded finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll knock on wood on that one. It's a physical game, not quite the same occurrence of concussions as you'd see in football. Although they are prevalent, and it's something that you have to protect yourself from and take the proper precautions to take enough time off if you do get your bell rung. So.
Yep, that's a subject that I feel strongly about, as my business Fit to Finish is involved in injury prevention in youth athletes. So the concussion thing has come full force in so many of these sports.
Right, and just even since I was here playing, I felt this culture shift that I've noticed among my current players, where there's a lot of self-reporting, which is great. Anytime a kid's feeling lightheaded, dizzy, a headache, or something's off after some kind of helmet-to-helmet contact, they're really good about being honest with us coaches and and volunteering that information themselves, which is really important.
That's exactly what we're looking for.
Some of those can be hard to see if you're just watching a player walking around.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Now there's a defender with a long stick bringing it down there. Oh, almost an open
That's right.
goal.
There's some more tic-tac-toe passing there. That was
yeah, got it. Tim Adamek again, I think. maybe.
Yeah, Adamak with the finish. That was Garrett Kelefant, the long stick midfielder, or LSM, pushing it in transition, getting the hockey assist there. It all starts with the face-off. You can't come back if you from a deficit if you aren't controlling possession.
And does number 19 for Yorktown, you said he's a specialist.
That's right. He's their FOGO. He's their face-off specialist. Can't see the number on Washington Lee's guy from here, but we'll keep an eye on him to see if he's coming off the field as a FOGO. 25 there in blue.
Mm-hmm.
That's Sam Hennig. He had one of their goals, so I think he's an all-purpose midfielder. As you see him staying on for a defensive shift here. Kent a little slow getting off the field. He'd been bothered by a hamstring injury, I'm pretty sure, before this game. So
okay, yeah, I saw him just jogging before. So when he comes off, another player comes on.
That's right. You sub through the substitution box is marked by those two bright orange pylons on the far end.
Mm-hmm.
It's 10 yards in either direction of the midfield line.
Okay.
And so once you step off, then the new midfielder can step on.
You don't have to check in with a referee like in soccer.
No, or in basketball, there's no taking a knee at the table. Here we see a hard fight for the ground ball behind the general's goal.
Guys, the field is over here.
Right.
Looks like a snowball fight to me.
Yeah, it's a bit of a scrum.
A scrum, yeah.
As rugby players will know it.
Oh, he whirled and didn't quite know where the face of the goal was.
That's right, but with the attackman there for Yorktown ready to back it up, they're able to retain possession.
Okay, backing it up. Okay, so there we go.
Nice feed to Nate Googles, his third of the game, a hat trick, which is not a lacrosse specific term.
I've heard that term in many sports.
And a great cutoff ball and a nice assist from Daniel Narcho there.
There you go. So is that unusual to get a hat trick?
Yes and no. Usually you'll see, the best scores on the best scores in the game you can usually expect it from. But just a sophomore there, Nate Googles out of the midfield isn't usually where you expect to see a hat trick come from. So
okay. And so
he'll be fired up about that one right now.
We have a different face-off specialist in. So your call on maybe the hamstring injury from the face-off.
Yeah, that's Cooper Albright right there. He's also a face-off specialist / defensive midfielder.
Mm-hmm.
And with Kent feeling that leg injury, he'll probably see a little more time here and into the second half.
Well, it's good now that I know about the substitution. Now I know why they're sprinting off so that the other play can get back on.
That's right. We're seeing freshman Luke Wallace getting some action here. Number 27 for White. In on short stick D midfield.
And you would think with so many goals up, you might be able to put in some of your normal bench players?
Right, it'll be interesting to see what Yorktown's strategy is there. If they look to extend the lead and really try to cement it before they start clearing the benches, or if they slowly try to trickle guys in there. Typically in lacrosse, with 10 guys on the field, it's a little easier to get those reserves in than in basketball, as we see a nice take from JT, where you'll see like a wholesale sub of usually all the walk-ons and all the deep bench guys with about a minute left.
Well, from my vantage point, I can't see anybody sitting on the bench, so everybody seems to be ready to come in.
That's right. You got to be up in that, mouth guards in, helmet strapped up at all times. At least that's what I tell my guys.
For whichever team you coach.
Yeah, I'm sure that remains a mystery.
All right, so as long as you've played with a helmet and a mouth guard and a
of
hat.
course,
yes.
Of course, yeah.
And the girls?
So that's a whole can of worms there.
Yes, it is.
They wear protective eye goggles, and that's about it. Some wear gloves on their hands too, and I think mouth guards are required for them as well. That's going to be goalie interference there. Hard to see from up here, but there is a one of the many lines on Yorktown's field is the goal crease, and it's a perfect circle surrounding the goal.
The yellow line.
Mm-hmm. Offensive players are not allowed in that area. If you try to land a check on the goalie like they did there while he's standing in the crease with possession, it's a free clear. So that's why Washington Lee was able to just restart the ball at midfield.
At this end, okay. Well, the offender on that was the young man who said who might have a hamstring injury, so he didn't look like he had a hamstring injury on that, so we're calling that clear.
Yeah, definitely an eager beaver, that one. There's no dangerous clear here for Yorktown.
Yeah, it sure was. Nobody in that goal.
Coils on his horse, finds the long pull upfield. It's a nice clear in the end.
Is it hard to throw with a goalie stick like that? Seems like it would sit back in there.
Well, I don't think he knows anything else, so,
Now, I understand the girls' sticks are different, too. Not only their pads, but they're more shallow, maybe?
Right, exactly. Which makes it harder to hold possession, especially if you're being pressured. And that's why you see a more that's why you see a less free-flowing cradle with them, where these guys will be dangling the stick around their hips, bringing it up high, switching hands quickly. The women tend to have to keep their stick more upright when cradling the ball.
So it stays in there. You call it a pocket? No.
Yeah. I guess you can call it. I'm not sure if you call it a pocket.
I don't know what
actually.
you call it.
I know you call it. I think cross is the safe term there.
Okay.
Because they're not allowed to have, much like and that's a mental mistake there by Yorktown. Should just let that ball roll out on its own. So now the Generals will retain possession.
Sometimes you don't know where you are in the field when you try to catch it, huh?
Right, and you saw him try to save that ball when it was well past the orange line. Might have thought that the blue was the sideline. Can be pretty confusing with lines for soccer, girls lacrosse, field hockey, football, and boys lacrosse all on the same field. So it's turf, so they're not going anywhere.
Oh, that's true. Different size field for boys and girls, huh?
That's right. And I'm not really sure why, but
and there's a soccer goal. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. But yes, the girls game very different.
Yes.
I don't see why they couldn't have just given them helmets and gloves in the first place and let them wail on each other like these guys do.
Or conversely, could have the boys play a little more with a little more finesse and a little less aggravation. We knew that this would be fun, the two of us commentating.
Right.
My first experience was at William & Mary watching the fine women's lacrosse team play. That was the first time I had seen it, and we will not say what year that was. We could admit that your mother was at school with me, though.
Right, and she actually, that was the first time she picked up a lacrosse stick. Was in a physical education class at William & Mary.
Okay.
Not typically known as the cradle of the game, Williamsburg, Virginia, but for at least these two, so it's good spot for exposure.
Some fine players then. All right, well, we had some shots there coming out strong from the Generals.
Yeah, that was a good possession. Even though they came up empty, there's some silver lining there. They held on to the ball for a good long while, kept it out of the Patriots' hands.
Yep.
It's a quick shot, no call.
No call.
Oof, a good eat there.
He's a good eat.
Yeah, it's 33 in blue, Elias Miller. Yeah, just some more wacky terminology. If you get hit with a shot and shake it off like nothing happened, that's called eating a shot.
So we don't want them to eat the concussion, but eating a shot is okay.
That's right. That's right. Hopefully you take it to a padded area. It doesn't feel good no matter what. It's kind of like
that ball's hard.
Right, and we don't see. There's another nice quick stick. That's
sure was.
That's 17 in white. Daniel Narcho. Yeah, you won't see the same kind of heroic dives in front of shots as you would in hockey, where the guys have more pads and maybe a slightly more forgiving puck than the hard solid rubber lacrosse ball is. But definitely there's still some glory in taking that shot for the team, as long as you're not injuring yourself in the process.
Yep, it takes a lot of courage to stand in the goal for lacrosse.
Right. Yeah, my hat's off to these goalies.
Yeah?
No, never. I was not interested in that.
So they specialize young in being goalkeepers?
Mostly, yeah. Although I knew players who switched positions. We had a goalie my junior year in high school who had been a face-off man before that, and just was looking for a way to crack the roster and get some playing time. So he put on the protective gear, picked up the butterfly net, and was in between the pipes. So WNL's got into it's a strong screen set, no call. They will call moving screens like in basketball.
Okay.
In lacrosse.
Oh, something.
Yorktown's going to get a slash here, probably a little over aggressive on those stick checks, and WNL somehow comes out of there with it. They get a play on here with the flag down until the ball hits the ground, or there's a dead ball like an out of bounds shot.
Okay. Yeah.
Now in college they play until the defensive team gains possession, so they have a little more freedom in the play on situation than the high school ranks.
It's a little bit different rules.
Yorktown will go man down again. This has been a point of emphasis for Coach Greg Beer over there. That's his real name, is to stay out of the penalty box, and not doing so great of it tonight.
Well, that would be the thing, right? When you're up 13-2,
right?
What do you emphasize as a coach, other than putting in new players? What do you try to so they still learn, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, staying out of the penalty box is a huge emphasis, or should be.
No reason to commit penalties when
right.
Yeah.
I'd say possessing the ball, taking care of it, and not giving up easy opportunities in transition. You'd like to dominate faceoffs too as a part of that. Because the longer you hold the ball, the less chance they have of coming back.
All right, so we've got 32 seconds left in this quarter. So they need to get a shot off.
That's right. With the penalty overlapping the but with the penalty overlapping the game clock by a few seconds, Washington could hold the ball while man up. If they hold possession, then they'd start the third quarter with no face-off.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so that
actually looks like Yorktown's doing that now. Anytime there's a penalty and you're holding possession at the end of the quarter, before the penalty expires, you get to keep the ball to start the next quarter. So if I'm right on that, then there shouldn't be a face-off to start the third. Yorktown should just start with possession.
Well, we're getting ready to start the second half of our match tonight. Yorktown is up 13-2 over visitors, the Washington Lee Generals.
That's right. And Yorktown will start with possession after holding the ball during a penalty that overlapped with the end of the second quarter. So they'll look to kill off the last few seconds of this penalty and get even here.
Looks kind of calm and patient out there now. Do we have a different team?
Almost. They have a lot of substitutes in, so.
Okay. So they maybe are playing a little more tentatively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we see Tim Adamak behind the goal, number 28. Although from midfield, it's the same old Tyler Stowell.
There we go. So how many goals is that for him?
At least 3.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay.
Second of the night.
All right, not at least 3.
It's the
second of the night. Well, in your defense, you're just winging it by not keeping track.
That's right.
All right, so we're going to go back for to the face-off after that goal. So we're 14-2, Yorktown up.
That's right, a pretty commanding lead here on their home turf.
Absolutely. So Sam Hennig, the face-off specialist for the Generals.
That's a great forward win by Kent there, but he's got to pick up that ground ball.
So he can push it to himself.
Hennig ends up with the win there in the stat book because his team eventually got the ground ball. Although Kent definitely got the jump on him.
Well, that's a nice run by the.
Yeah, the Patriots over pursuing on the edge there and letting the guy get in behind him. But again, a really nice stop. This is This is a goalie change for Yorktown. Cody Erickson, the senior backup, is stepping in here.
Okay. Well, that seems reasonable.
Yeah, you regardless of your affiliations, you love to see that. A goaltender who's the same year as the starter, so is really not going to get in as in meaningful time. But being able to play against these these guys he's grown up with and knows well and probably dislikes somewhat as a rival team, he's that's huge for him.
Well, it's the good of the coach to get him in.
Right.
And we saw plenty from Coyle in the first half, so we know what he can do.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, great stop by Cody there on the first shot he faced. Coming in cold off the bench.
Yeah, literally. It's a little chilly tonight.
Temperature is dropping.
Oh, this is probably good temperature for these guys. Oops, lost footing.
Miller with a really slick swim dodge there. When you pick your stick up and throw it over the defender's head, looks a bit like a freestyle motion. So,
okay,
so that's why it's called the swim dodge.
Okay.
Also employed by some defensive linemen in football to get past their guards or tackles to throw that arm over top of them and try to get the leverage past the defender's shoulder.
Interesting.
That time he just kind of ran out of space and fell on his keister though.
But it gave us the opportunity to describe what he was trying to do.
Right.
In football, I can see
slip
this.
up there by Adamak.
Yep. Well, on these turf fields, in the old days it used to be everything was grass.
Mm-hmm.
With the rain last night, this field probably is a little bit slick and maybe getting a little dew. All right, that
another one off the pipe there.
Mm-hmm. Yorktown retains possession here.
Pass just a little bit behind 32.
A little bit behind it, yeah. Hey, I'm learning this game. I don't think there's really any career path for me here, but it's a game with a lot of action, of course. A lot of fitness out there and a lot of whacking.
There's Joe Mahan with a strong take and a great save.
There you go.
It's Caputo again for the Generals. I've been really impressed with him tonight.
Mm-hmm. So that longer stick is working for him.
Guess so. It's Joe Mahan in there, number 17. Backup attack, I'm seeing some action.
Boy, I saw about 3 things that looked like holds to me. I guess that's okay in this game, though. All right.
Yeah, as long as it's in the front, you can get away with most stuff, and it's not a cross check.
Okay.
They're keen on you not pushing guys in the back.
Mm-hmm.
There's Chris Kane weaving through the defense.
Very nice run.
Excuse me, that was Pasternak.
Who has the ball?
Now it's up top. It can be hard to locate. That's why a lot of times you'll hear the goalie shouting out the position of the ball. Right now it'd be balls behind. He always goes by his own hands. So right now ball side left, ball's top left, ball's top right. You get the gist.
It is with the stripes on the field and the lights on the field. It's tough to see. Oh, very nice.
There's Han Miller again.
Mm-hmm. Han Miller, 5'8", 150, ninth grader. We were talking about him.
That's right, the young gun, the freshman phenom, whatever you like to call him. He definitely looks like he's got a bright future here of 2 goals on the night.
All right, so tell us about the face-off. The ball lays on the ground between the 2 sticks. How's that work? I can't see from here. So
that's right. So they line it up. Both the players have to hold the stick with their right hand up high, resting parallel to the midfield line, and the ball is placed right in between their sticks. So on the whistle, they'll look to clamp down on the ball and try to control it from there and rake it out to their players or out to themselves if they want to start a fast break.
Okay, they can retrieve it themselves.
Uh-huh.
All right, here we go. Something worked at that halftime. The Generals are on the attack.
Yeah, they're firing.
They sure are. Oh, and a good save.
Cody's going for a run.
The backup goalie's got the same idea. Here we go. Why not? I'm
He
in.
looks at Coyle and says, anything you could do, I can do better.
Or just the same. Okay, he's over midfield. Now he retreats.
That's right, found his help.
Listen to his teammates calling out for him.
That's got the bench real fired up for him.
Sure does.
I think players in any sport can appreciate that. A guy who comes out and works hard every practice and finally gets his chance to play, especially when he's able to make a play like that.
Absolutely, and that's something I think that's true in every sport, that the starter gets the glory, but the bench player is the one who makes the starter work harder so that he can be the best player, or she can be the best player they can be, and maybe work to take their spot.
Yeah, you said it. I think anyone who's a good teammate and a good competitor recognizes that somebody behind them on the depth chart pushing them in practice is benefits the whole team.
Yeah, it's gold. All right, being patient again here. Yep.
Seeing Goodwin dodge the long stick midi. You don't usually see that.
Yeah,
Works out for him though.
It sure did.
Typically, the midfielders will look to dodge the short stick defensive middies. That time, Goodwin decided to take a run at the pole, and it worked out for him. He drew the slide and dumped it off to the open man.
So, are some of the midfielders have long sticks and some have short sticks?
Right. So you're allowed 4 long sticks on the field at all times, and there's only 3 defensive spots. So a lot of teams will run pretty much whenever you're on defense, and for most teams on the face-offs, we'll run an LSM, a long stick midfielder on the sides. Here we have Trevor Dominguez, who got called up from JV because of Kent's injury. He's a sophomore. This is his first ever varsity action. I don't even know if he'll be in the program. He was a game day call up.
Okay.
So he's
interesting that you know that inside information about the Yorktown team.
That's right. I got my ears to the ground out here.
And you're correct. He's not on my roster.
So unfortunately, that one's going to go as excuse me. That one's going to go as one loss in the column for Trevor Dominguez, TDs they like to call him. But everyone's excited to see him out there, his first ever varsity action. Yeah,
there were a lot of cheers. I wasn't sure what it was for, but I think it was for him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think if he got on the field, that's a win, whether he won the ball or not. Oh, there we go.
That's a great take by number 8 in blue, Sam Mansauer. Setting his guy up behind, rolling back, and finishing before the slide was able to catch up with him.
And it's amazing as I watch the speed of this game that Jonathan has any idea who shot and who scored. When you're used to watching, I guess you're used to watching the ball and where it moves. You get eyes to see other things. You're not watching the ball.
Right. There's definitely some anticipation you can gain over time.
Oops.
Yeah, he had a number 11 in blue there, McCray Hanky. He had an opportunity for a fast break there, but it got away from him.
Yeah.
But it all works out. Now they're going to have a
2 flags
man up opportunity. We'll wait on the call.
So we got one player out. We got a whole new team in for Yorktown.
Right, looks like they got him for. Nope, that was just the ref repeating himself. I thought they got him for 2 penalties simultaneously again, but that's going to be another cross check on Yorktown.
Okay.
So they'll bring their. Usually, this is when you bring your aces out for either a man up or a man down opportunity. So when where Yorktown, and I think Yorktown has some of their reserves in, they'll check their starting defense back in and look to kill this penalty.
Mm-hmm.
The key to man-up offense is quick ball movement.
Is that what you're seeing here?
Up until now, yes.
So dancing with the ball behind, not, but there we go.
It worked out for him. He waited for the passing lanes to develop and was able to skip it right on through.
Yeah, that was a fine score.
That's Sam Hennig. Mm-hmm. Unlike the Fogo, the face-off get-off, he's also on man-up, so he's a do-it-all kind of midi.
And we got the almost full moon coming through the clouds here. That's a good luck for the Generals. Yeah, beautiful night here, and a lot of committed fans.
That's right.
In spite of the chilly weather.
That's right. You see the JV teams of both squads sticking around, trying to cheer on their upper class friends.
Sure thing. Well, of course, they're all
hopefully learning something.
Mm-hmm.
Hope you boys are taking notes over there.
Well, and supporting their friends and teammates and schoolmates.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
General's on the attack again, number 14 with the shot. Then
tries to do it himself, and Cody stuns him.
Stop. Yep. Charles Edwards.
That's a great outlet pass there, starting a fast break for the Patriots.
Oh, and a fine catch. Do we call that a catch? Stop by the goalie. Oh, but a little overexcited.
Yeah, really up and down here. This is fun stuff. We'll see if these guys can maintain this pace.
Yeah, poise. A lot of instructions being yelled from the sidelines or the parents. I'm not sure which.
Right, so right there, Yorktown's running out of time to clear it. You have 20 seconds to get it over your midfield line and 10 to get it in the box from there, in the possession box marked by the 30-yard line and the alley lines, in case you're having trouble following those lines out here.
Yeah, they're a little
So
hard
the
to
calls
see.
for send it were for him to just chuck it downfield to try to get that toss.
I see.
That's Erickson making another save to stop, to stop WNL at the end of the quarter there. I think that's at least 4 for him in that quarter, coming in looking strong.
Yeah, there was a little more energy from the Generals there. So 16-4 is our score. We were talking during the break. We looked like 2 separate teams meeting with their coaches on the sidelines for Yorktown, but only one for the Generals.
That's right. The Generals huddle up in one mass, and Yorktown opted for the separate defensive and offensive huddles. It's not like there's one right answer to that. It's just different coaching styles. But it is interesting to see one storyline here. For Yorktown, you got first-year offensive assistant Michael Crow, who played here. He's the class of 2011, won a district championship in his senior year before going on to play at Stevenson and win a national championship at the D3 level. He's going up against his old buddy and former WNL rival, Nico Burns, who's coaching the Generals. He's one of their best players, if not their best player in program history, who played at Marymount right here in Arlington.
How great is that to have players be so successful with their programs, come back and get back to the program?
Yeah, it's great. Really, really great to see. And I think, being young, enthusiastic guys who, the players can relate to, I think is also a great asset to have on the sideline, especially for games like this. These guys are no strangers to the weight this game carries and the bragging rights that are at stake in the WNL Yorktown game.
Yeah, this is a rivalry for sure, right?
Absolutely. And while this one might be a little one-sided so far, there's been some serious history between these teams. And in 2010, Washington Lee beat Yorktown to win the district championship in the national district that these teams used to play in. And when Yorktown was heavily favored, so since then Yorktown has had a real chip on their shoulder.
So they don't take this lightly.
No, not at all. And of course, the rivalry extends to basketball and football and really every other sport here.
All of those sports, yeah. Well, that's true probably in every city in the country where you've got crosstown rivals, right?
Exactly.
They've played each other, they know each other, and they've got bragging rights on the line.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so it looks like we have 2 separate games going on at the different ends of the field here.
Yeah, Yorktown had their man down defense in there, and they're going to look to sub, who are their number 1 guys or numbers 1 through 3 guys, and they're going to look to sub in the reserves who've been playing before that to get them a little more experience here in the fourth quarter. So going one at a time.
So how does that feel coming off the bench?
Well, it's really exciting. I came up at the end of the season for my sophomore year to Varsity here, and I remember we had one kind of lopsided game in the first round of the playoffs, and it's nerve-wracking. Your heart's pumping, but more than anything, you're excited to get out there.
So you got your opportunity. You can show what you got, right?
And it helps when you have good supportive teammates like these guys seem to have, who are really excited to see the guys who maybe don't get as much playing time all the time get in there and try to leave their mark. For example, you got big number 40 in for Yorktown, Nathan Strickland, who was a football player at first and decided to take up lacrosse after getting to high school.
Huh. So he's listed at 6'5", 300.
It's a big fella. Yeah, he's being recruited by a lot of big name Division I schools. Only a junior, so he's got a whole another year to decide where he wants to go for football.
Okay.
But he thinks that lacrosse is a good way to stay in shape and work on his footwork. Actually, a lot of footwork that goes into defense is similar to what you'd see in basketball or in football on the offensive line. Whether it's backpedaling, shuffling side to side. So he hopes it'll help him with his lateral quickness.
Well, that's great to see. That happens in a lot of sports where they have a primary sport, but they train for the rest of the year with another sport that's helpful.
Right, and college coaches love to see that too. Dom Starja, who coached at UVA for a long time, used to say that he wouldn't recruit a guy unless he played more than one sport.
Interesting. And that's, of course, there we go.
That's Joe Mahan with the step-down bouncer. Really tough for goalies to stop. That's a coach's dream. A good fundamental high to low bounce shot.
Oh my gosh, that has got to be so hard to. It's got to pick up speed when it hits the ground, right? And then it skips.
That's right, and it works. It works a little better on turf where you have a nice bouncy surface. Some grass fields the ball will just die.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. This game probably changed a lot when you moved over to turf.
Absolutely.
And that is one of the reasons why the World Cup winning women's soccer team, U.S. soccer team, was offended by playing on turf, because the natural game is played on the grass. The game changes.
Right. Plus the turf burn is the scrapes you get from sliding on this field. There's a little more sliding in soccer than in lacrosse, but
but those knees are exposed.
Exactly. If you take a tumble down here, you'll feel it, and you'll feel it for a little while too.
Know that.
Plus, there's a lot of risk of staph or MRSA when you're on this kind of nasty field.
There, very nice, Charles Edwards.
Yeah, just a great take, a low shot. Probably is one that Erickson wish he could see again, but no, a great dodge. Good job getting his hands free.
Yep. So how do you learn to direct the ball when you shoot like that?
Practice. Yeah.
Do you play catch? Do you throw to a target? Do you rebounder? What do you do?
One thing a lot of guys will do to hone their stick skills in is playing wall ball. You go and you find a nice flat wall, guys and girls. It's really helpful for the women's game as well.
I'm from the Midwest, what we call boys and girls guys, so I'm okay with that.
Okay, there you go.
Yep. So off the wall.
Yeah, so you go find a nice wall. I lived behind a middle school growing up, so there was a nice. That shot hits the outside of the net, and it's still a live ball.
To see, yeah. It's kind of dicey over here.
Yeah. But yeah, hitting the wall is one of the best and easiest ways to get better with your stick skills.
So it's boring, but practice makes perfect.
Yeah, and you can make it fun. You can you can see how many in a row you can get. You can try switching hands, throwing behind the back, all kinds of stuff.
Okay, so you make it creative.
Yeah.
You add music.
Sure. Yeah, you can plug the headphones in. You can bring a speaker out with you, and with those Bluetooth speakers, you can listen to music almost anywhere.
Yeah.
Especially the waterproof ones.
What
it's a great backhand feed. Wow.
What do we call that?
So that was a backhand feed by Jake Riley. He he threw it back. He sort of had his shoulder and some of his back facing the target of his pass, but he kept it in his right hand on that close side, and was able to just flick it from around his hip across the crease to hit his cutter for a goal.
I'm going to call that the backstroke pass.
Yeah, why not? Why not? We already got the freestyle, the swim move. So.
See, you didn't know we were going to coin a term tonight.
That's right.
You're gonna see that being used.
Everyone watching is witness to the.
Everyone watching. That's right. Wendy LeBolt coined it here.
The backstroke pass. I like it. There's another face-off win by W&L. They're,
sure is.
Henning's really holding his own there and standing in there. While staying in for offensive shifts, this kid has to be gassed.
That's a long time to keep moving and keep running.
That's right. So Miller's going to try to press out here and make him run a little more, knowing that he has a slide behind him.
Okay, a slide behind him, helping him cover on defense.
Exactly. He's got the help defense there to fill in.
Yeah, and something always to remember. These high school players, let's see, what day is today? Friday. These
Friday.
high school players attended classes all day today.
Right.
Right, and had cafeteria lunch, came out after school and are still playing at whatever time it is tonight.
Right. For the varsity team, when they with the 7:30 start, most of them are probably able to go home, maybe a little power nap, get a good meal in them, maybe some carbs, some pasta. It was always my choice. Here we see Big Strick going at it.
Oh, and the team is
That is a freight train moving right there.
That is a big man moving down the field. It's like a toothpick in his hand.
Exactly.
I can't see, but I think he's smiling behind that face mask.
I'm sure he is. He's a big happy kid.
Well, that's nice to see all the support from the sidelines.
Absolutely.
All right, so where is that ball?
Behind.
Okay, behind.
Behind the goal.
Behind the goal.
Over there in the football end zone. Yeah, right now they've got a matchup with an attackman on a short stick defender, so they're going to look to attack that, or one would imagine they would,
okay.
as he moves it around. Coaches are begging him to put the ball behind, although they may just be trying to kill clock here with only 2:45 remaining.
So now he's got a long stick defender. So what advantage
so
does
this
that give him?
Well, it allows him a little more space to to keep a cushion between him and the offensive player while still being able to throw checks, which gives you more time to react when he dodges or makes a move on you. And it also you can get in close and reach in there to try to dislodge the ball, as opposed to with a short stick you'd have to get really right up on him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Yorktown content with just spreading it out, running out the clock right here.
Sure has about 2 minutes left. 18-5 is our score. So they're showing off their basic skills.
Now, one thing to keep an eye on here, now that the clock is under 2 minutes, Yorktown will have to keep the ball inside the possession box. So that, again, for reference, is topped off by the 30-yard line on the football field, and bordered on the sides by the dark gray line that kind of underlines the football numbers.
So they have to keep it inside that because we're under 2 minutes.
Right, exactly.
And what happens if it goes out?
If it goes out, it's a turnover.
Okay.
It's almost like they act as sidelines pretty much.
I see.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. So they can't just waste or it's trying to get them so they don't just waste the clock.
Exactly.
I see.
There's a great wrap check. Didn't dislodge the ball.
A great what check?
Wrap check. The defender took his. It's a risky move. Can often draw a slash, but number 11 in blue there threw a one-handed check where he reached around to try to dislodge the ball in one quick hard motion.
Okay, so we're time wasting here.
That's right.
So this is done in every sport. You're too young to know the four corners offense that
Well, I grew up a Carolina fan, so I actually know about that.
All right.
Yeah, the whole reason for the shot clock.
There you go. Well, I'm glad that you're up on your history.
That's right. In college lacrosse, they actually have a shot clock that refs can implement at their discretion if they think a team is wasting time.
Is wasting time. Okay.
And that's a 30-second clock where the offense needs to shoot a shot on goal before that 30 seconds expires. Here, though, the only control they have is stall warnings and with the last 2 minutes where it's the same thing. It's just to keep it in.
I see. It looked like the goalkeeper had adaugh of it, went back and tried to dislodge it himself there.
Yeah, one thing you'll see when a team is down trying to create a turnover is the goalie will come out and guard the guy in the crease, allowing a defenseman to be free to go throw checks. But it looks like they're just going to let them
run this one out.
out.
There we go, 6, 5, yep. And we have a turnover maybe?
Yeah, ball left the box, but they're going to keep that clock running because of the deficit.
That's our game. All right, Yorktown's happy. They've won 18-5. Congratulations to them. This is Wendy LeBolt for Arlington Independent Media.
Jonathan Shears, thanks for being with us.